and welcome back, everyone, to Who Would Win Lantern Corp. I'm still. It's been a long day. I'm not editing that out either, or restarting the video. It's going to be Who Would Win. That's who it is. It's the Who Would Win Lantern Corp edition. Jeez. 1 second here. Okay, thank you. And now we just going to do that. Just going to enlarge that real quick. Welcome back to the Lantern Corp. Been a while, but like I said, we rotate every month off and on. So we are back with Lantern Corps, and as you can see, this one comes to us from Casper Johansson and I can't remember who the other one's name was. Someone else gave me the suggestion for Sauron from the Lord of the Rings. To me, Sauron falls into a category of he kind of runs a big gambit. Is it gambit? Is it gambit or gambit? I want to say it's gambit. He runs a lot of the Lantern Corps. He actually has a lot of qualifications for a lot of these cores. I stuck with 3 core ones, but I will talk about ones that could still qualify, but I think they fall on the lesser scale of the argument. Right out the gate, he's not a gold lantern, and he's not an ultraviolet lantern either. Never been happy professionally his whole life, or not perpetually happy, but continuously happy his whole life. He had not feeling any shame, or he feels negative emotions, but not shame, which seems to be the core one. He's certainly not a white lantern. An argument could be made for black, though, as he is also the necromancer, as well as having died several times, but come back. So, black fell into the category of he could, but I would probably lean away from it. It's probably one of the lesser ones he would qualify for. Except for his army, which is not even true followers, just people he has under his command. Not followers, that's not the right word. It's not like they worship him, per se. I wouldn't say hope works either. One of the ones that does clearly work, though, is the Green Lantern Corps. The Green Lantern Corps of will, for Sauron to continue doing what he had been doing for so long, takes so much willpower, especially being beaten and dying a couple times and coming back. The amount of will, as they even said, the will of Sauron endured. When the literal thing that scares people about you is that your will endured, then will has to be on the table. One that isn't on the table, though, is love. I don't really think so, unless we're going by the idea from the Rings of Power that him and Galadriel had some sort of thing going on, which I don't really buy into that. At least not for a Lantern Corps, anyway. And I don't think that's what really motivates him, anywho. So, love's out of the question. One that's not on the list, though, that's kind of a wild card, is compassion. Because compassion, obviously, it's the Lantern Corps compassion. But it works, as we've done multiple times, a lot differently than other Lantern Corps. Now, it will find individuals whose compassion is their most dominant trait. It will do that. But it is also looking for individuals who are completely without empathy or anything like that. It's looking for people to try to instill compassion in. The problem is it's also a parasitic ring that robs you of your original personality and kind of gives you this cult mentality. Honestly, it's basically a lantern cult minus not as bad as, say, the ultraviolet lantern ring, which definitely are one is a cult, one is a virus. One infects while the other just kind of recruits. I think that's the difference. The ultraviolet lanterns completely rob you of everything you are, whereas the indigo lanterns, they don't necessarily give you a new personality, they just kind of level you out. They take away aspects of your personality, to be sure. But the question is, does Sauron qualify under that? In a lot of ways, yes, but as we again learn from the Rings of Power, he's not devoid of it. I think it's very much buried and hasn't been given much of a reason to display it. I'd say there's definitely a chance he could be it. I think he would reject it, though. It's like, no, I do not want to be compassionate. This is not something I desire. Speaking of which, we got to talk about Orange. Avarice would fit. He's literally a conqueror who is not satisfied with anything. He wants all of Middle Earth under his belt. under his banner and beyond, like not just Middle Earth, like Right Havens, everything, the entire world he wants. And so that is the true testament of someone who is not content and who is constantly wanting more, aka avarice. So avarice has to be a consideration. The other ring that I considered but chose no was Red Lanterns. Red Lanterns are obviously powered, powered, yes, but they're driven by their rage. Their burning hatred for vengeance, rage, all that. For rage. But they're burning hatred for vengeance, revenge, hatred towards someone for whatever reasons. That is what drives a Red Lantern. Unfortunately, while Sauron certainly has anger in him, it's not his driving force. Or at least not in the sense that I think a Red Lantern ring would look for. He's not looking for revenge per se, although he definitely has some people on his hit list. He's looking to conquer. He might be angry, but I don't think that's the emotion that dominates his soul, really. And even if it does play a large part in his actions, I honestly think the three I have listed here are just better options. Which leads us, obviously, to the last one, which is fear. This one I think is a no-brainer because of how everyone talks about Sauron. Like, the enemy has returned. Won by only... and they were scared shitless of Sauron. They did not want him coming back. So, yeah, fear, when your very name strikes fear in the hearts of people. This is why Voldemort is probably... I think I did Voldemort already, but if not, it would probably be a fear lantern, definitely. So the question now becomes, out of fear, out of will, and out of avarice, which is the dominant emotion here? The problem is all three of these are really good candidates for Sauron. I honestly think if any one of these rings were nearby, they would go to him in a heartbeat because he is the dominant emotion that they are looking for out of their collective select groups. But I gotta choose. If these three rings came down to Earth and found Middle Earth and found Sauron, and he's like he could sense the power coming off him, which one would be more inclined to go to him? I'm gonna say Will is the weakest of the group because while his willpower is immense, I just think that while his will endures, it's because of his his desire and want for more power that his will endures. So while the willpower is immense and could easily make him a Green Lantern, it is derived from his greed and avarice. So I think the avarice would override the Green Lantern ring. But then it's down to avarice and fear. This is like a coin toss one. Honestly, I don't think there's a wrong answer between these two. You could honestly go either or on this, and I think the answer is yes. But again, if I am to be making a decision, I'm actually gonna between fear and not that one. There we go. Okay, go there. Okay, there we go. Between avarice and fear, I'm actually gonna go with avarice. Sauron his reputation is known throughout the land far and wide. However, there were certain individuals who would square up on him. I mean, he fought in a war and people challenged him regardless. There were individuals who, while afraid of him, still fought him and overcame their fear, or just weren't afraid of him. Arguably, someone like Tom Bombadil probably isn't actually afraid of Sauron. And Sauron doesn't screw with Tom Bombadil either. That's an in-lore versus match we could do at some point. I don't know if I ever did that. I know I put Tom Bombadil on the channel before, but yeah, Tom is powerful. But yeah, there's individuals like him. While Elrond, Galadriel, and Gandalf are technically afraid of him, they have no qualms standing up to him either. So, and then when he's gone for a god knows how much amount of time, the legend of him sort of like the fear of it starts to subside. I was about to say subside, but that's not the right word. Subside, because he's not in the picture for so many years. Peter's time kind of grows a bit longer, and therefore the name starts to lose its power a bit. Now, when he comes back, obviously the fear starts to ramp back up again. But I think because enough people in the world are either not afraid of him, or despite their fear, stand up to him, I think that hurts the fear just enough to make Avarice the more likely candidate. Because again, his wanting, his quest for power, his desire, his for everything, that never changed at all. So, and that isn't impacted by anything from outside forces. If anything, them getting the win increases his desire for avarice, his desires and his wants and his avarice even more. Now, you could make an argument for the Red Lantern rings that his defeat also helped bolster his rage. You could definitely make that argument. And like I said, rage, compassion, maybe even death, I think they fall into the second tier of he could qualify, but I think there's a little bit more that needs to happen for him to qualify. They're not as dominant as the three main ones I chose. So if I had to basically order this very quickly, I would go Avarice as his dominant one, then I'd go Fear as his immediate second, and then I'd go Will as his immediate third. Honestly, all three of these are highly likely in my opinion. Now, that being said, I know Lord of the Rings well enough. I definitely have an above average knowledge of Lord of the Rings. But I'm not what do you call it? We call them Potterheads with Harry Potter. What do you call them with Lord of the Rings fans? I'm not whatever that terminology is. A Hobbit fandom? I don't know what you would call that. A Jackson head? A Jacksoner? A Lorder? A Fellowshipper? Or Ring Bear? Actually, maybe call them Ring Bearers. That's not a bad one. But anyway, I'm not that hardcore in Lord of the Rings. So if there's someone who is watching this right now who is a bit more into the Lord of the Rings than I am, let me know what you think. Do you honestly think, and it's assuming you know the Lantern Corps as well too, and if not, that's a quick Google search you can do. But let me know if you agree with the choice I made among the three, like the dominant ones, maybe the other three, or if there's a feasible way he could actually qualify for the ones I just don't think he would, like love, hope, life, ultraviolet, shame, or happiness. Now again, I think it's most likely it's most likely between Will, Avarice, and Fear, with compassion, rage, and death having possibilities in there, but I think they are overcome by the other three I chose. Anywho, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time.